Hello, loved ones. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Endureth Forever podcast. We're so happy to have you, and we're even more happier to have Deanne, the doula, on the call for our series, Doula Diaries. Deanne, thank you for coming. Thank you
Hello,
for being
hello.
here.
No problem. I'm excited to be here.
We are celebrating two powerful moments in our community: World Doula Week and Black Doula Day. And we just want to honor the hard work that doulas are doing in the community. And so Deanne has graced us with her expertise and will be talking to us a little bit today about being a doula, what is a doula, and all of the above. Many of you probably don't know this, but I've known Deanne for quite some time. Met her when she was in high school as a very bright student in the Upper Bound program. But I'll let her get into it. Tell us, Deanne, where are you from? Who are
Yeah.
you? All the good things.
Okay. So my name is Deanne. I am a certified postpartum doula with a background in public health. I am from the south side of Lorain, Ohio. And I got my degrees at Kent State University, where I also met Raslin. So I support families through the fourth trimester and beyond. So I help them navigate healing. I help them navigate newborn care, lactation, and especially the identity shift that comes with motherhood.
Okay. Okay. And so how did you transition? So you said you went to Kent State, you got
Yes.
degrees. How did you transition from, after graduating into doing this line of work? Like where did this all
Yeah.
start?
So first I got my bachelor's and my master's in public health. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do in public health because it was so broad.
Right.
But like in the middle of earning my master's degree, I found that my passion lied in maternal and infant health. So it's funny how the doula work kind of came about. I feel like it found me. So I was working at Ross for a weekend job. I was working as a community health worker for my full-time job, and on the weekends I would work as a cashier at Ross. And one day this woman comes through my line and we're talking about my work as a community health worker. So my target population that I worked with was with moms and children. So I was connecting moms to resources in their community. So we're talking about it and she's like, I think you would make a really good postpartum doula. She's like, my agency is hiring. I think you should apply. And I was like, oh, okay. And so she gave me because I knew what a doula was, and I only thought about birth, and I was like, "Ooh, I don't know, like birth is kind of messy," and but I was like, I'm gonna look at the job description anyway. So she gives me her name and number, and I look at the job description when I get home. And so I'm like, "Ooh, wow, I love this! Like, I love like what postpartum doulas can do for families." So I started doing my own research outside the job description. I'm reading blogs, watching videos and other things, and just learning about what a postpartum doula really does. And I was like, oh, I think I can do this. I love what they're doing for these communities, and that is how I got into it.
Awesome. So just by circumstance at the grocery store.
Listen, yeah, and it's so crazy because I picked up that shift. So it was like if I wonder if I feel like I would have found this path anyway, but it's just so interesting the way certain things how had to like come in, like be placed for that moment to actually happen. So it's very interesting. Yeah.
It was meant to be. It was
It was.
was absolutely, absolutely meant to be.
Yeah.
And so are you currently still serving the community of Lorraine, or like where's your services now? How have you?
So I live in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio, but I service Northeast Ohio. So I try to keep like a perimeter of like an hour around Cuyahoga Falls. So that gives a lot of different cities. So I touch a lot of different cities in Northeast Ohio. So I was in Thailand at the time that I got an email where they were asking me, they're reaching out and said or offering me an interview. And I was like, oh, whoa, okay, oh, we got the interview. All right. So I sent them some times and then we agreed on a time. And I was like, I really want to do this interview like ASAP.
Right.
And so it was like 2 days after I got back, I did the interview. I thought the interview went well. Obviously, they did too, because less than a week later, they offered me the position. And I was like, whoa, like I'm really a postpartum doula. Like, this is crazy.
That's
And
great.
so, yeah, and the rest is history. So, the connection between my doula work is I knew that my passion lied in maternity and infant health, and that's a field within public health. So public health is so broad, but I knew that I wanted to really be a voice in the maternal and health, the infant and maternal health field. And I
Right.
wanted to be able to be a part of those conversations that make a difference in how these people or how this target population is treated.
With that being said, you got pulled into this doula work, but like, what is a doula? Like, can you describe to everyone, like, what does it mean to be a doula if they've never heard
Yeah.
of the term doula or what they do or even the types of doula?
Yeah. So let's start with my what I do. So I'm a postpartum doula. So I support mom and baby after birth. And that's mostly in the fourth trimester. So the fourth trimester is the first 3 months after baby gets here, earthside. And usually a lot of my clients, I'm working with them until baby is 5 months, 6 months, 6 months, 7 months. All the way, I've worked with some families up to a year. So it really just, yeah, it really just depends on what their needs are and like what type of support and how long that they need that support. And so during that time, I really focus on education. So, of course, newborn care. Educating them on things that have to do with the baby and also supporting mom in her healing process. So that is both physical and mental. And of course, I am by supporting mom, I am supporting the family as well. It's like a trickle down effect. And so and a birth doula provides like advocacy and supports mom during, before baby gets here. So during pregnancy, labor, and delivery. And there's also death doulas. So doulas that support, yeah, there's also doulas that support people when like their babies pass, being able to be that anchor and be that support system for them. There's also fertility doulas. So if there are women that are going through, fertility struggles, there are
Yeah.
doulas that support them in that way. So there's just all types of different doulas. But our main thing is just to like advocate and
Right.
support during these transitional periods in a woman's life.
Right. And so you're building like, I mean, helping someone take care of a newborn
Mm,
is, I mean, that requires people to really trust you, and that requires people
yes.
to really um, rely on you and trust in your expertise to
Yeah.
get them in the right direction. Um, in that way, like, how has that shaped you and just like a more vulnerable person and more like a relatable person to these women families, and caring for their children, and then alongside of that you're building and maintaining relationships. So does it go just be like you said, I've worked with families for years, so like do you still stay connected with those families, or
Yeah.
like how does
So,
that process work?
yeah. So I feel like I understand where I'm coming in at in
Right.
these women's lives. Like, it
Mhm.
is such a sacred
Oh yeah.
time. Like, they are trusting this stranger that they have an interview
Yes.
with. They, social, and then boom, I'm in their homes at
Yes.
night while they are unconscious, aka sleeping. So
Mhm.
it's like they're trusting me with this thing that they just created, the baby, and they're trusting me in their homes. Like,
Right.
it is I so am very much aware of, like, the impact and how much trust it takes for somebody to hire a postpartum doula, and I just learned to show up as myself. Just
Mhm.
authentically me. Like, I'm not coming in like, oh, I know this, I know that, and no, like, I'm just gonna be me. I'm just gonna laugh. I show them that I am a real person. Like, yes, I have all the knowledge and I can take care of your baby. I'm here to support you in every way, and I'm very knowledgeable and educated, but I'm also just a person. So you could just talk to me as a person. You can joke, you can do like as whatever you need to do. Like, this is a relationship that requires us to both just be like both parties to just be real with each other and just be authentic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you said something about, paying for someone to come into the home. So I'm wondering, how do mothers get connected? So is it just by like their own outreach and hiring this, like hiring a doula as a service? Or is this something that can be provided for like low income families or, just those who just want to have that additional support?
Yes. So it happens in two different ways. So I'm an independent doula. So I have to do a lot of my own work to put my face out there and put my name out there. So if a mom wants a postpartum doula, the first thing they're going to go to is Google, right? So I have my own website, and a lot of other doulas have their own websites, or they have a Google profile or things like that. And that is like the first place that they look. I also try to connect myself to midwives and OBs and health centers and hospitals and just places where moms are going to be and pregnant women are going to be, so that when I create these relationships with other providers and other people that are working with the same target population as me, they can be kind of word of mouth to say, "Hey, I have this doula that I know. I heard that you're looking for a doula," or "Hey, I heard that you're struggling with." Sleeping, and I know you're having like really hard time with sleep deprivation. Like, I know this doula that does overnight support. So there's also that sense. And something that's been happening lately, I don't know when they started this, but this is not all that new. So Medicaid has been providing services, doula services for low income
Yeah.
um, families. And I think that is so cool because
Absolutely.
doulas, it's not a cheap service. It's not a cheap
No.
service. Your babies are already expensive. Hospital stays are already expensive. Not a lot of people are going to think, oh, let me pay this person a lot of money to be in my home and to take. That's not what they're going to. There's so many other things that are like, and on top of that, a lot of people don't even know about a postpartum doula, right? So they don't prepare for it financially. So
Absolutely.
Medicaid is offering doula services for people in low income from low income communities, and I think that is really awesome, giving them that opportunity to really benefit from something that is so beneficial. Like, statistically, just having a birth doula like just changes the game for you. Having a postpartum doula changes the outcome of your postpartum journey, and just having that type of support in your corner is so beneficial and really can make a difference between the outcome of your pregnancy and the outcome of your postpartum journey.
Absolutely. And I'm so happy that you mentioned that because I feel like that's probably a resource that people don't even know that's
No.
available to them or know when
Mhm.
it's available to them. Or even a resource like having a doula of any kind is a resource that most may see unattainable, right?
Yes.
Or
Yeah.
most may not have the lack of knowledge or just lack of awareness
Yeah.
of the role in general, where now and I really hope that you know about it, but I'm like, are the hospitals and childcare facilities that are providing care, medical offices, letting folks know like how else can we get this word out to those who are low income or underrepresented who truly could use a doula at any stage of their
Yeah.
pregnancy. So I'm glad that you said that. I'm glad you put that out there.
Yeah.
And you know, I myself don't have any children yet, but I'm a first generation college student. And I know for Black women, especially for Black maternal health, having a support like this is huge.
Yes.
It's just huge. How has being a Black woman shaped your perspective or the way you show up as a doula? For not only for Black women though, but for all women, but for Black women in particular as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. So, as a Black woman, I am always aware of the maternal health disparities that impact our community. And when I'm working with people that look like me, I can't separate that from my work, right? It makes me more intentional, it makes me more observant, and it makes me more proactive. I like to do a little digging and ask them a little bit more
Yeah,
deeper questions. Like, how did you feel in the doctor's office? How did you feel with these, like, how did the nurses treat you? How did you feel? Because that really affects us in those spaces. And a lot of times we are numb. We may become numb to how we're treated. And
mhm,
a and I feel like with my experience with working with a lot of Black families, they don't ask questions. I think they have this idea that doctors are like
mhm.
of higher standards, and it's like, no, actually they serve you. And so if you don't feel like you are being treated how you deserve to be treated, then you can go find somebody else. Like you can go, like you interview your doctors, right? Like the ball is definitely in your court. So yeah, and I know what it feels like to navigate spaces where you have to advocate for yourself. So, I always try to help my clients practice that. So, like I said, just by asking them questions and kind of getting their thoughts, helping them think like, "Oh, well, I really can. You know what? You're actually right, Dan. Let me ask these questions, And I always want to remind them that like they matter. Their pain matters if they're in pain and they're having issues. Their questions matter. Like ask the doctors all the questions that you need to ask them. So, and their consent matters as well. So I always try to keep that at the forefront of their brains.
Absolutely. And you're actually helping them, you're advocating for them by being in that space, but you're also
Yeah.
advocating with them and showing them how to be a better advocate for themselves.
Yes, that is like
Yeah,
that's like the number one thing that doulas do. Like we want to advocate for our clients, but our number one thing is to help them advocate for themselves because we're
absolutely.
not always going to be there. So it's like giving them that thought process for sure.
I love that. And I love
Yeah.
that because I think that that's such a particular topic that doesn't get brought up. Like even just being going to the doctors and being a part of the Medicare system, medical system as the patient, it's like there is kind of this unspoken level of superiority
Yes.
that that's there, but we don't really acknowledge it. And people can find those spaces intimidating,
Yeah.
or they may not know what questions to ask, or they may
Mm.
not want to disclose certain things about themselves because they don't want to feel judged, or it's just so many things that happens in those spaces that
Yeah.
from a human level that we just don't talk about. Like for even with my own experience, when I first got diagnosed with lupus, I had no idea what was going on. And I went from doctor to doctor to
Mhm.
doctor. And I remember one doctor in particular, and this is probably like my third doctor I was on. Um, and she was really unkind. And to the point where, like, me as an adult, as like 26, 26, probably 27 years old, 20, 25, 20, somewhere around that age,
Mhm.
I had to have my mom come to the appointment. Like my mom had to drive to Cleveland and come
Yeah.
to the appointment with me and had to speak on my behalf as a grown woman because I didn't know how to do, I wasn't, when you grow up as a child, your parents are the ones kind of in that role of like
Mhm.
your appointments and doing this for you. Um, and I had to see her in this space advocate for me in order for me to be able to do it for myself. And I ended up switching my doctors, ended up going to a totally different,
Yeah.
prescriber provider who was absolutely fantastic. Like totally got me on the right track to get
Mm.
my lupus into like a remission phase.
Yeah.
I had a great relationship with him and his staff, but I feel for those, especially new moms who may or may have not planned. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes,
To
absolutely.
be in those spaces. So thank you for speaking on that and just bringing that
Yeah.
to the surface for others to also think about, like, how are you advocating for yourself in these spaces that are really important concerning your health. So
Mhm.
thank you.
Yeah, of course.
um, what do you wish, just based off of that experience, what do you wish more people knew about, like, just being a doula, and then also um, just like Black maternal health in general?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Oh, no worries. I said, what do you wish people knew that they may not know about the role of a doula? And then also alongside that, just Black maternal health in general.
Yeah. So a doula, like what I want them to know about a doula is that we are really here to be a part of your support system.
Mm,
And really your support system and what you want, we want to be able to mold into what you want. So whatever you envision for, speaking as a postpartum doula, whatever you envision for for your fourth trimester and your postpartum journey, it is me putting myself into that
mm,
in your vision, your own vision, especially
mm.
even as like a birth doula too. Birth doulas, we don't come in and tell you how things are going to be. You tell us and we mold ourselves into your plans. And especially the
Okay.
only difference is that like the educational piece. We always make sure to help you understand the educational piece. So for me, one of my big things is safe sleep. So I'm going to tell you this is the criteria for safe sleep. But
Mm,
I am if you continue to co-sleep and that is kind of against the practical US safe sleep guides, I'm not here to attack you if you're safe sleeping.
mm,
If you're co-sleeping.
mhm.
Co-sleep with your baby. I'm not the police, right? I'm
Right,
not the
right.
baby police. Like if
Yeah.
that's what you're doing,
Yeah, that,
okay.
that makes sense. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, tell me that that's what you're doing and we can navigate that, right? Like I educated, my job was to educate you on the safe sleep practices. If you're going to continue co-sleeping, let's talk about what that looks like. Let's talk about how it can be a little safer or
Right.
what you do, just things like that. So our job is to really mold ourselves into your vision of how you want your postpartum
Mm,
journey to be.
awesome, awesome. And then what, just in general, even if it's just like a soft touch, but anything regarding like Black maternal health in particular, like just what you think more folks should know about when it comes to Black maternal health.
Oh, okay. So when I am supporting families that look like me, I always want to kind of push the idea that it doesn't have to be a struggle. Like we don't have to live in this struggle mindset.
Mindset. Yes.
Mindset. I think we try to normalize. It's so normalized
Um,
in our background, like especially motherhood. Oh, I have to be strong. Oh, I have to push through. Oh, I have to do this alone. And it's like, no, you don't. You actually deserve to like experience motherhood in as soft and as joyful as possible. Like you deserve that. Like and you get to have that if that is what you want. So that's what I would say I'm always trying to push. Like this experience could be a joyful one and can be soft and you could get that support even if you're
right.
not getting that support from family because something that
Mm,
I noticed between the different type of families that I work with is with Black families, they lack familial support. It's unfortunate, but it's not really there. Like that village is not really set
yeah.
up for us as
Mm,
much as it is for other families. So what I like to tell my families are that you have to build it. So it's not there, it sucks. Okay, but what are we going to do about it? I'm a solution driven person. Like
yeah.
it's sad, it's unfortunate, but here's how we can build that village for you. So
Yeah.
always pushing those thoughts.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you speak to that again, just that mindset of, you deserve to be happy. You deserve to have peace. Um,
Yeah.
you deserve to live in a growth mindset. You deserve to not struggle.
Yeah.
Like you said, just navigating through that and building a village through that, and getting people around you that do support you and support what you're trying to do and support your child and the growth, healthy growth of your child.
Yeah.
And I just I'm in admiration of you because I feel like you know you're a doula, and you're one of many doulas,
Yeah.
and I I really truly hope that this video helps those feel encouraged to get the support that they need when it
Absolutely.
comes to their pregnancy journey, or even before that. Like, even myself, I'm just taking it in, like, okay, like, this is another resource that I can even look into and I can learn more about. I
Mhm.
and my husband and I start to think about what it looks like to have a family. You know what I mean? So it's just like
Yeah.
that there's that extra support out there for women of color, knowing the barriers that typically come our way in these
Mhm.
different spaces is just truly, truly admirable. So I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah, of
Um,
course.
are there any myths about postpartum,
Oh,
like
man.
that you would like to debunk for us?
Oh, man. Let me think. I think that I think that a lot of people believe that postpartum is just about the baby, like the feeding schedule and the diapers and the sleep, and I don't believe that. I feel like postpartum is really truly about the mom.
Hmm.
If we don't I always tell people that I'm talking to, I always tell clients, like, the mom is the heartbeat of the household. That is just how it is. Yeah, dad might bring in the money. Yeah, but the woman, like, if the woman isn't feeling well, then the whole home feels that. So, like, if we don't care about her mental health, if we don't like, or her physical healing, or her identity shift that is going to come with having a new baby, everything else feels heavier. Like, the home just feels heavier. So, I always center the mom. The baby is important, of course, the children and the dad, but I always center mom always. So that's something that I in debunking.
I
Postpartum,
love
yeah, that postpartum period is not about the baby, it's about the mom.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. The identity shift. Talk to us about what that looks like. Like, what
Yeah.
what does the identity shift look like? I'm sure it's different for moms, but I'm sure there's common themes across the board.
Yeah, so that identity shift just comes with, first off, your mental. Like, your mental health chemically changes when
Mm,
you are after you have a baby. Like, it's just chemically. Like, you nobody can stop the biology of it, right? Your brain becomes wired to think about the baby, the current baby. It's wired to try to go off of lack, be able to operate off of lack of sleep as much as possible, and also thinking about it from like a physical aspect as well. So your body completely changes. You just pushed out a human being. You just built one, right? And then you just pushed one out of your baby or out of your body, or if you had a cesarean,
mhm.
that takes a mental shift as well. And so you
Yeah.
have to come with what that you have to deal with what that comes with, right? You may have been expecting a vaginal birth and you have to get a cesarean, and now you
Yeah.
have to deal with the healing and the scar that may come after that, and all of the things. So just dealing with the physical and the mental changes alone, and then on top of that, like, not only do you have to deal with this baby, but you have to deal with you, because you're still a person, right? You're still a person that has a heartbeat, that has to, get up every day and operate. So sometimes we tend to forget about ourselves in that period. And I think, in my opinion, that is the time when you need to be thought of the most,
Mhm.
is that those first couple weeks and the first couple months after baby gets here. You
Yeah,
really have to focus on yourself because, like I said, mom is the heartbeat of the family. So
right.
and ensuring that you're healing properly and that you are taking care of your mental health is extremely important. You don't feel like yourself for a very long time, and
Mhm.
a lot of in your support system also affects it as well, because if they're not focused on you and supporting you in the right way, then it could feed into those thoughts that you have as a mom of like feeling down about yourself in those periods, those first couple months of that postpartum period.
Yeah. How would one recognize or and maybe even address postpartum depression?
Ooh, that is yes, that's a very good question. So, with postpartum depression, so the first 2 weeks after you give birth, you are going to most likely deal with postpartum, the baby blues. So, the baby blues is just being super emotional, crying a lot, maybe feeling a little disconnected and not feeling like yourself. But that should really last no more than 2 weeks after birth. So if it's anything, if you are having that intensity past 2 weeks, then we are really stepping into postpartum depression. So it's just that more intense feeling of crying or numbness. Having that emotional numbness is also a huge sign of postpartum depression. A lack of sleep or oversleeping, just not really feeling connected to your baby weeks after the baby is here, and just having that just very strong overwhelming feelings of sadness or
Mhm.
um negative feelings like that. That is a real sign of postpartum depression.
Mhm.
And what was your second part of the question?
So, how do they, recognize it, and then how do they address it?
Okay. So yes, addressing it. So you can address it yourself, which is just stay knowledgeable about how you're feeling. I recommend journaling. Journaling is very important, and having your support system check in on you emotionally and mentally. So just asking questions like how are you and doing things like that is very important. So at your 6-week appointment, when you do that first checkup after you give birth, the doctor is going to ask you questions that really um, try to zone in on if you are struggling with postpartum depression. So they'll ask you like, how is your mood rated on scale 1 to 10, and just things like that. And if you are answering them in a way that it will signify, it's like a scale. I can't remember the score at the top of my head of what it's called, but it's made to signify whether you're struggling with postpartum depression in the intensity. And so
Mhm.
it's very, very important that you answer correctly and honestly during this 6-week checkup. I think a lot of moms don't really answer truthfully because they think that it's gonna have like they're gonna take away my baby or they're gonna open a CPS case or things like that. And it's like, no, that is not the case. They want to help you. Do not like don't don't minimize that test. Don't try to make it seem like you're okay when you're not. This is a perfect opportunity for you to speak up because they know they'll ask you like, okay, have you had a therapist before? Medication. They'll ask you about medications or different treatment options, and then that can help you on your journey if you are struggling with postpartum depression.
Okay, awesome. That's fantastic. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing.
Hmm.
Um, what's something that still surprises you about people being a doula? And remind me, how long have you been like full time doula work? Um, I know you did like you do your own independent contracting, but how long
Hmm.
have you been doing
So it'll be coming up in a few months. It'll be 2 years since I've been a doula. Yeah,
Okay.
and so yeah, full time. So I don't even. I can't even tell you how many families that I've interacted with and I've been their doula. I've lost I've honestly lost count. So when people ask me, I'm just like, dozens and dozens. I'm like, I know it's up there. I really know it's up there. So yeah, so I've been a doula coming up on 2 years now.
That's great. That's great. Is there anything that still surprises you about the people that you interact with?
Hmm, is there honestly honestly, no. No, I can't say. It's kind of like a I don't wanna call it a blueprint or, like, expected, but I feel like yeah, nothing's really surprised me.
Mhm.
I've worked with so many families that nothing's really surprising me yet, so
Good. That's good. That shows that you're working with a diverse, group of
very diverse, very, yeah.
people. And so you're seeing, similarities across the board then, which is
Mhm.
great. So
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
like shining those faces. I love that.
Yeah.
Uh, how have you, endured as a person since becoming a doula? Like, what have you endured as a person and then just in this transition of becoming a doula?
Um, ooh, that's a good question. Like, what have I endured? Like, what have I learned or
Yeah, so
like
like what challenges have you had to like really overcome or just endure
oh,
in
okay,
that
gotcha.
transition of like becoming a doula or even just as a person in this process?
Yeah, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. So, I feel like I've learned that I can be compassionate and show up for others without overextending myself.
Mm,
I think early on, I thought that to prove that I was good enough or, that it meant saying yes to everything and over providing and trying to, like, prove my value, and I really had to learn to let that go.
mm,
I had to learn to say no to people that I wanna service and that I know that are in vulnerable transitional periods in their life, and that was really hard, but I had to think like, "Okay, DM, you're really your own person." Like,
right.
they they can't text you and call you all types if it's not an emergency, right? You can't
Yeah,
pick up every phone call and answer every text message. You're your
right.
own person. This is something yes, this is something that you're passionate about. This is your passion and what you want to do for in your life, but you also deserve breaks, right? You're not a machine, so,
Mhm.
like, you deserve that. So, it was really hard to come to terms with that. It
Yeah,
was really hard, but I feel like I kept my empathy and I kept my compassion and my warmth and my dedication, but I just added boundaries.
yeah,
And I realized that it was okay. Like it didn't like the world didn't catch on fire when I got boundaries. Like nothing happened when
mhm,
I added these boundaries. And like the more that I practiced these boundaries, the less guilty I felt. So it was really for the best. And I'm able to show up more and more confidently now that I've placed these boundaries. And I
absolutely.
don't have like yeah, and I felt like I don't have to exhaust myself to be impactful.
Right, absolutely. Boundaries are important. I don't think people I don't think I think people really underestimate the power of having boundaries because it is I feel like sometimes um it's almost like you have this innate at least I would say that a commonality and just hearing you speak and just wanting to show up and like prove yourself and just make sure that you're doing everything correctly and that you're like overextending yourself because you want to show people that you're there and that you care. One is because you genuinely do, right?
Yeah.
But two, it's just like there's like this innate part of wanting to make sure that we're that we're doing our best and that people see that we're doing our best, but that can come at a fault in and of itself because we can do our
Yes.
best without having to go crazy. Like
Yeah.
do our best without, like you said, saying yes to every single thing and making sure that those boundaries are up, and not feeling like I have to say yes every time. Just to
Yeah,
make sure you know that I care, you know that I'll be there. Like,
absolutely.
and it also protects your mental. It protects your mental health and your mental space. Like
Yes.
being able to breathe, and then like you said, it gives you more confidence. You feel like you have more authority over your time. Like,
Mhm.
no, you can't, call me after 11 p.m. Like
Yeah.
p.m. is the cutoff for me. Um, so that's really important. So I'm glad you're
Yeah.
able to, keep a lot of things about yourself, like you said, like your empathy and your compassion, but also be able to say, like, okay, I'm also human. And I care about my own mental health. I care about my own
Mhm.
growth and my own development. So, like, how do I need to shift to be in this work that I love to do and enjoy it? Like, because you don't want
Yeah.
to also get to the point where you're burnt out, right?
Yes,
I don't
absolutely.
help anybody. Like,
Yeah.
so it's like just making that stand before it gets to that point. Uh,
Yeah, and can I add?
yes,
I
please.
think something that I also was struggling with was when I first became a postpartum doula, something that was always in my head was what if somebody rejects me or doesn't want me because I am this woman in my 20 with no kids? And
Mm,
I was like, who is going to want me in their space as a woman that is childless? And that was something that I really struggled with for months into this career shift. And so I felt the need to like show up and be
yeah,
throwing the statistics and throwing like the I know newborn care and
yeah,
now I was just like, girl, you don't have to do that. Like you're gonna show up exact. You
yeah,
know who you are. You know what you bring to the
absolutely.
table. You do not have to have popped out kids to
Mhm,
be worthy of
ab-
like doing what you love and what you're passionate
absolutely.
about. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like sometimes we will underqualify ourselves before
Yes.
we're even in the space,
Yeah.
and you end up looking around and you're like, I'm more than qualified to be here. Like,
More than qualified.
if I wasn't qualified to be here, I wouldn't be here, right?
Exactly,
But it's almost like
exactly.
in those moments that we're growing and that we're going through these situations, we're learning so much about ourselves. Like just in the journey
Yeah.
alone, like outside of the occupation, outside of the field of work that we're in, you're just learning about yourself, learning what your
Mhm.
capacity is, learning, what your limits are, learning what can do, what you can't do, what you want to do, what you
Yeah.
don't want to do. So um, I get it. That is a challenge, and I've also just struggled with that. Like, should I be like, am I qualified? Like, even with my doctoral program, like I knew I wanted to get it. Like I knew I did. Like
Mhm.
I knew I did. But I kid you not, I remember we were in like Amish country. I went to an Amish country trip with like my now mother-in-law and like her girlfriends or something,
Yeah.
and I got the phone call back from the program, saying that I got in, but we were on the bus, like in the middle of nowhere, so I can barely hear.
Right.
When I finally did get to a space where I had a good signal, and they told me, when I got off the phone, I was terrified. Like
Yeah.
before the joy came in, it was like a sense of like, can I do this? Like, am I?
Yeah.
It's like someone just told you we're qualified, and you're still disqualified.
Still, yeah. It's crazy the way our brains work sometimes. It's just
Then you have to struggle with that until you understand your value and
Yeah.
the reason why you're in those spaces. And I was the youngest one in my doctoral program.
Mhm.
Even currently where I work now, I'm the youngest one in the position that I'm in.
Yeah.
And that's okay because if I wasn't qualified, I would not be there. And
Absolutely.
I think the fact that were able to grow through that, um, and even speak to that is going to help a lot of just people be like,
Yeah.
okay, like maybe I need to step out of that mindset too. Maybe
Yeah.
they'll step out of that mindset sooner than we did.
Yeah,
A
absolutely.
little push. So that's great. So obviously you've been in this work for 2 years. What is it about this work that brings you so much joy?
Oh, man, I think it is seeing, like seeing the growth that the families have when I work with them. So when I work with families, I'm working with them for weeks that turn into months. So I'm really with them, and I'm working closely with them. I'm in their homes, and their little cocoon, right? This is like their homes. This is where they are most themselves. They don't have to put up this front. This is their lifestyle. And being able to, like, I think about the times when I'm with them, the initial, like, the first shift that I'm with, and then, like, just seeing, like, think back and I think about the last one, and when I'm talking to them and we're at that last shift and they're like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Like, this was you were a godsend," all the good things. But then I'm like, I'm looking at little baby and I'm like, "Oh my god, I remember when you were like, I was holding you with one hand and now I gotta, like, hold you with two." And I talk to the mom and I'm like, "I remember when you had, like," and I'll tell them, I'm like, "Remember when you were worried about this, and look at the baby now," or
Wow.
reminding them that you did this. Like,
Wow.
yeah, I'm sure I was here and I'm so glad to have been on this journey with you, but the things that you worried about when in the beginning, I love to see them, like, see that, oh, it really
Yeah.
wasn't, like, it really does pass. Like, it
Mhm.
really does get better. Things like issues that were happening when baby was a week old, 3 weeks, 6 weeks, it really does disappear, and sometimes they're, as a mom, they're really close to the issue, and they're really close. They're like, this is never going to stop. Like, the crying is never going to stop. They're never going to sleep through the night. They're never going to, it's all like very definite, never, never, never. But then it's like, I remind them at the end, like, you see, you never say never, because it just takes time. And
Yeah.
a lot of the issues that come with newborns and infants is, like, how do like, when is it gonna stop? Or when is it, like, what do I do? And I said, you do nothing. It Like, a lot of these issues, only time will help. Like,
Mm.
that is
Right.
literally, like, a lot of that's really the answer to a lot of the things
Mm.
that are happening. So, yeah.
That's awesome. I
Yeah.
love that. And it's like you get to tell them like look back on what you've done, and I'm sure that
Yes.
that gives them so much motivation and encouragement to just continue to go further. Um,
Absolutely.
what does the conversations look like, after your stint with the family has ended? Is there still like check-ins or like
Oh, yeah. So I like to do check-ins. I like to, like, mostly I'll have them on social media. So they'll still post their babies.
Mhm.
I might not still have a conversation with them through text and phone
Yeah,
calls and show ups, but even, like, making those little comments on the baby turning 6 months, the 6 months pictures, or things like that, really, I feel like makes a difference in it. And I feel like that is enough. And or sometimes I'll just check in with them through, like, text message, like, "Oh, did he ever learn to roll over? Is he rolling over yet?" Or, like, just little things like that. And they'll send pictures. They'll send pictures of, like, when the baby turns 6 months, or they'll send me pictures of when the baby finally rolled over, when they took their first step, and I'm just like, I love it. Like, I really, really, I absolutely love it. Like, thank you for thinking of me to send those videos and pictures, because, like, we
yeah,
haven't talked in months, but they still think,
yeah.
like, "Oh my god, let me send her this," and it just makes me feel so good.
I love that. Especially like babies are just, I mean, babies are babies. So they're
Yeah.
just, oh, like that part alone would bring me so much joy.
Yeah.
Not to say that I would ever go into the field of being a doula. That is not my gift that the Lord gave me. So I'm grateful that you're in that field and that you're doing such a fantastic job,
You.
in the field, working with families, working with mothers, and just being able
Mhm.
to be a part of, caring for the safety in the health of the
Yeah.
next generation, literally. Um,
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I love that. I love
Mhm.
babies. So
Yeah.
I would probably be like, is it about the names? No, just kidding. No, but obviously it's a holistic perspective. Um,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that's just it's babies are just like they're like little sweet peas,
Yeah,
So
and they're so fun because they
yeah,
really have their own little personalities. Like, if you
hey,
really like the it's and people are just like, "Babies are babies." It's like, no, they be funny some today, like, just the way to see their brain like, yeah, they're babies, but to see their brain work, like, you can literally see, like I spend a lot of times with babies, so you can see the way their brains,
yeah,
like, work, and it's so interesting to me because I'm like or like I'll have a shift with them one week, and then the following week they're like or I'll be holding their bottle and I'm like, "Ooh, I feel like you're gonna figure out how to hold this bottle by next week." And then a week goes by and they're holding their bottle and I'm like, I'm so good at it now. I can really predict like these infant developments and I'm just like, "Yes." And just to see it happen, I'm like, prediction was went well, like, it's just
I
so
love
interesting.
I
Yeah.
I love it. You're like a baby whisperer.
I
Uh,
I think I am.
I think you've made your transition.
Yeah,
I think you've as of now have made your transition. Uh,
yeah, like, literally, moms will be like they're like, "Oh my god, how did you get him to sleep? He never like, how did you get the baby to do that?" And I'm just like, "I don't know, like, I'm just here. I don't know how." Or they'll be like, "Oh my god, that's the first time he smiled at somebody. That wasn't me. How did you do that?" And I'm like, "I don't know." Like,
yeah,
I'm just showing
yeah,
up.
yeah. I love that though, and
Yeah.
I bet that just gives them so much relief that for one,
Yes.
you're a sweet person, right? So it's
Thank
just like
you.
then to be able to like you said, come into someone's home, be able to help them with their child,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
and then give them the additional comfort of like, I'm here for you too,
Mhm.
Uh,
Absolutely.
what walking away from, a family that you've worked with, what do you want them to remember about you?
Ooh. Ooh, okay, this is good. So, I want them to remember that like, what do I want them to remember about me? When they think back, I want them to remember that, like, I was somebody that helped them make motherhood feel softer,
Mhm.
feel more supported, and just less overwhelmed overall. And if I can get if moms walk away from like our time together feeling that way, like that right there is everything to me because support is very sacred and like it deserves like its own space and it's really the driving force of how your outlook on motherhood and on parenthood period. So they could just if they think back on like wow like she really made this feel easier she really made this transition softer for me that would be it for me if that's what their mindset was I'm like all right job well done Deanne.
I love it. I love it. I'm sure they will. Um,
Yeah.
and are you open to like referrals or, are families able to, then be like, I work with this amazing doula,
Yeah.
get their information and they can, continue to kind of pass the link to the next person.
Absolutely. Yeah, that word of mouth is so, so, so important,
Mhm.
especially with like in my field. That is how a lot of us continue to get like other clients is when like the mothers that we work with talk. Like talk to your mother friends, talk to people that are thinking about getting pregnant and just that education on like because people would be like, oh yeah, I had a postpartum doula. And they're like, what is that? Girl, let me tell you, like, and then you pass on that you pass on that education. And I always try to, the education piece is so important to me because, like you were talking about earlier, you said like when it's time for you and your husband to start talking about kids, like, what does that look like for you? And I always try to tell people, like, budget in a postpartum doula. Like, for me, when it's time for me to start having kids, having a me is mandatory. Like that is a part of my budget. That is a part of my postpartum plan is
Yeah,
a postpartum doula because I deserve to not feel like I'm going through the trenches alone. And if like having that postpartum doula is going to do that for me is in all the positivity and all the like the importance of having one and the impact that like a postpartum doula has, yeah, sign me up, you know? Like that's so
absolutely,
important.
absolutely, absolutely. And just like you said, doing the research first and just knowing what a postpartum doula is,
Mhm.
what it's going to cost, if it costs, if you can get it, through Medicaid, all that
Yeah,
stuff imperative for
very
just for
good.
the general public to know
Mhm.
how to access, any type of doula that they may need. I
Yeah,
think is priceless information. Uh,
priceless, yeah.
it really is. With that being said, you have in 2 years you've done a lot, right?
Yeah.
You've done a whole lot. And so as you continue to, embrace your future, what are some other ways you would like to continue to evolve as a person and then also as a doula?
Yeah. So, okay. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. I've done so much in this short period of time. And so right now I am focused on of course my business and my expanding my postpartum services and continuing especially continuing my education. I am a huge nerd of course as like as of somebody that has 2 degrees in public health. I am so huge on research and I'm always I got the books.
Mhm.
I literally take time out of my week, a couple hours out of my week to educate myself. Always, always, always. So I'm looking on doing that. And I'm always thinking about like how I can serve families more holistically. And like every time I walk away from a family, I try to reflect like, okay, what are some things that you've learned with this family that you can bring into supporting other families and
Right.
etc. And something I'm excited. Oh, okay. So something that I'm really excited about and is learning about postpartum practices in cultures outside of Western traditions. So like outside of what the US is doing it. I just feel like so many communities around the world prioritize rest and they prioritize nourishment and they prioritize like collective care in ways that the western culture just does not, and we have not for a very long time, and that is one of the main topics in like maternal health and what people are talking about, just the way that hospitals and healthcare is that's a whole nother thing, but just the way that they are really thinking of us and our bodies as a business and as another dollar sign is just not
Yeah.
it. So I want to be able to study these like these models and thoughtfully integrate it into the work that I do. And
Absolutely.
so of course that takes education. So there's this one program. It's I don't want to butcher the name. It might be called Womb to Heart or something like this. I found it a couple months ago and they travel to different countries and they you learn about the birth and postpartum practices of that culture. So there's one that's on my heart. So hopefully I'll be going next year or in 2028. But there's this one that I want is you go to South Africa and you like are in these like villages and you're learning about the birth practice and the postpartum practices and all the things and firsthand. Like you're there for 12 days and they teach you everything you need to know. And I'm like, I want to be in spaces like that. But for now, I will educate myself. I will read, research papers, I'll watch videos, I'll, connect with people that do the work internationally just to learn more so I can integrate it now. But I really want to be like have a first seat in these spaces because I want to bring back those things because other cultures are doing it right or they're doing it more right. And I want to bring that. I want to be able to give moms here those options of yes, you are on the in this land and this is the way that we do things, but you get to choose how you want your postpartum journey to look like. And I'm giving you this option of like an option that is not really here, but I'm offering it so it's here now. So
Yeah.
that is what I am working on.
That is fantastic. Like,
Yes.
just for one, just being a lifelong learner is pulling at my heartstrings. Definitely to continue to dig, continue to research, continue to learn more. And then again, just a full circle, like it's like you're not only doing this for yourself, like you really I can tell you really genuinely love the work that you're doing.
Yes,
To the
absolutely.
extent where you want to not only expose yourself to new methods and new practices, but then just bring it back around and say, okay, family, this is what I was exposed to, this is what I know now, we can do it this way, but here's B, C, D, and E
Yes.
that may fit or suit you a bit better,
Yeah.
or you may be able to work with more international families. So
Mhm.
also exposes your market too of how you market yourself, promote yourself, and bring in
Yes.
clients, because they're like, okay, well now I know a doula who not only knows Western culture, but has gone abroad and studied these other aspects of postpartum.
Yes.
You know, is it dueling, postpartum dualship?
Postpartum practices.
Postpartum
Postpartum practices.
practices.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, just making sure I'm getting it right. For the audience, just making sure we're all on the same page. Um, so I love that. I love that. And as we wrap up, I know you talked a little bit about maybe going ahead and doing that program. But what are some other upcoming projects that you're working on? Like, I know you have the Afterglow Co. website, uh,
Mhm.
TikTok Shorts, which I absolutely love. Links will be below. Please like, follow Deanne. She has some amazing, amazing content. I
Yes.
think the other day I was watching like a breathing technique video. She got what you need, okay?
Yes, all the education is on my social media because like I said, like, education is huge to me. I that's like one of my favorite parts about my work is that educational piece. So on
Yeah,
my social media, I always try to do like educational videos, like what are moms curious about? What do moms don't really know? Or
yeah,
what can I teach them? Or what can I teach people that are supporting moms? And so yeah,
abs-
that's what I post about.
absolutely, absolutely. Other projects that you
Um
have.
I want to like there's no specific project other than like really diving deep into exploring other cultures. I also want to think I'm thinking about getting into sleep consultant work. So as a postpartum doula, my focus is providing support for parents overnight. And it's not a lot of people don't do it cuz overnight can be a little exhausting if you don't plan your days right. And of course, especially if you have a family, you probably aren't supporting other families overnight. So I think I'm in like this really nice spot where I don't have kids yet and I'm on the younger side, so I'm really fluid with how much I need to sleep and just being I feel
Yeah,
like I'm in a really good spot for that. So I realize with working overnight as a postpartum doula, a lot of moms are thinking about, okay, so I need my baby to sleep through the night. You know, what do I do? And I can ask them, like I can answer that slightly, but I'm not trained in sleep training, right? So I'm thinking the best thing for me to do next is to be trained in sleep consultant, just because it will bring more help to the families that I am working with. So that is probably my next project.
I love it. I love it. So you're just expanding. You're expanding
Yeah.
space so you can expand the marketing for yourself, expand
Mhm.
for the mothers and families. I love it. And you're
Yes.
able to be flexible, right? So
Yeah.
you have the time, the energy, um, and the brain power to do it. And so
Yes.
I'm encouraging you in all your ways. And you also have a couple books out, so that's fantastic.
Oh
Yes, yes, I'll see. So we definitely want to make sure that we, support Deanne in the amazing and incredible work that you are doing. Um,
Mm.
Again, I know, you know, I'm sure being in this role comes with, a great deal of just putting yourself out there, which that
Mhm.
also takes a lot of energy.
It
Uh,
does. It
so
does.
I can only imagine. But I want to let you know that I appreciate you taking your time to even just share your story, to
Yeah.
share about this, particular field, to be able to give your knowledge back into the world. Um, just and to talk about how you have endured, embraced, and evolved as an extraordinary person. Um,
Yeah.
so I truly do thank you for being on the
Of
podcast.
course.
I thank you for joining. Um, the links to all of Deanne's resources, social media will be linked below, and definitely like, share, and follow
Yeah.
this page and Deanne too. Okay, go to her page, like,
Yeah.
share, follow, um, and tell a friend. Tell a friend they may be in need of a doula in the near
Mhm.
future,
Yeah.
and the doula may be there. So,
Yay!
and I thank you so much for
Of
connecting.
course, this was so fun.
And I hope to see you again soon. If you have any other upcoming projects coming up, always let me know, and I will be
Absolutely.
happy to make sure that you are, getting pushed into the community. Um, all
Yes.
right. Okay. Talk to you
Thank
soon.
you. Thanks.